All right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Right.
shalom.
What's good, brethren?
Shalom, shalom, my guy. Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Can't call it.
All right, yeah, man. Back in the studio.
Yeah, man. Back in the studio yet again. Time for another podcast. Let me get my mic situated. Hold on.
What happened? Your mic collapsed?
Yeah, just acting weird.
Turn that leg
You gotta turn the leg.
towards you. One of them legs.
Y'all excuse this brother for having his technical difficulties now. He had ample time to prepare.
Y'all can keep talking, though.
Well, how's everybody week?
Man, it's been interesting, and plus we're gonna go into some stuff that kind of go inside with this week for me anyway. So you know, is interesting how this conversation came. Actually, the question came up. Actually, I think it's from last week anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the questions is from last week, but we're gonna go a little bit more in depth in it.
Right.
All right. And shalom to everyone out there. I want to thank everyone for listening to the videos, subscribing, sharing them, and you know, putting a thumbs up for them. We just want to thank y'all, man. We're really grateful for it, for real. Y'all just don't. I really don't know. I'm real grateful for, you know, what I've seen, because I'm kind of like the one behind the scenes putting up the videos, so I kind of see certain things that's you know, that goes along with putting these things up. I can see a lot of comments. I can see who's subscribed and who doesn't, or whatever like that. And like I said, a lot of people, y'all subscribe on a lot of the reels. Man, we just want to thank y'all, man, for just subscribing to the channels, man.
Yes, as we say in Hebrew, Toda Rabah.
Okay.
Or some brothers say Tawada.
Oh, man.
Okay.
The water.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
This is a blessing.
yeah, it is.
Before we get started, I just want to say one thing. Well, it's more than one thing, but we're not here to get you to believe anything that we say.
Facts.
We're just sharing perspectives.
And actually, as you probably listen, if you really listen today, it's gonna be some differences in, you know, the brothers on the channels. I mean, on the panel too. So, especially when it comes to some suffering. Suffering. But lay us down with the question, huh? What we got today?
Yeah, so today we'll have a branch off from a question that we had last week, which was addressing suffering,
Right.
and how what we coin as our spiritual system deals with suffering. But this week, man, I just want to kind of get into the dynamics of maybe the why, the how, and then, you know, maybe share some recommendations to improve our consciousness as it relates to suffering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are y'all ready?
Yeah, let's get it.
This is this, by all intents and purposes, is not gonna solve the world's problems.
No.
But what it can do, it can help those of you who are listening, those of you who are receptive, those of you who are maybe even in a certain space of awareness or consciousness. It may resonate with you, and for those who it doesn't resonate with, that's okay as well.
It's all good.
Oh, you looking at me?
100%.
Oh boy. Okay, so I'll start off with the controversy. Suffering is a choice.
Okay, how so?
Yes.
Well, man, give me a second, because it's like a lot of things downloading and processing. You know,
Because somebody gonna look at you like, what you mean?
I mean, I've had these conversations, if you want to say, in the past debates.
Right.
You know, so I'll start with saying that the physical vessel, and I had this conversation yesterday with a gentleman. We had a conversation for an hour in Barnes and Nobles, and we were talking about what you see is not the truth of what's there. So when those who are watching this video, they're looking at three individuals on the screen, there's more behind or more going on
Right.
within, around, on a soul level than the little speck that you see as the individual sitting before you on the screen. This is just a construct or the outer appearance, but the soul is so much more magnanimous. And what I'm saying is we're all here based on choices. So if you could go back from this point, you watching this video, you choosing to watch this video, and start going back throughout your what time is it? It's about like 3:30 maybe?
3:30.
3:30, and start pacing yourself backwards. Your whole day is a culmination of all your choices from the time you woke up. And then if you go before what you woke up, it's still a culmination of choices. So your whole experience in life is based on choices. And as a collective, we all choose together, even though it seems as individualistic. So what I'm saying is, as an individual, on some conscious level, or some level of consciousness, I should say, you've chosen everything that's ever happened to you in your life.
So is that like to say that it's already predetermined on your part?
It's a paradox because predetermination, it gets into a whole bunch of things.
That's all right. We got time for those things. We got time.
So predetermination, the concept of predetermination, and back when I couldn't articulate myself as well, I used to get into these debates with my uncle, and he's like, you don't have a choice. It's all predetermined, meaning the concept of God knows what's going to happen to you. And if he knows, then that means it's already predetermined. And I used to argue, well, it was hard to come with the counter argument because it's like, well, no, we don't know. So we're still choosing. If you don't know, the knowing is on God. You're the one that's making the choice, which is, again, it's hard to explain. But what I like to do is, again, I like to use imagery because I'm a very artsy, creative person. Draw a circle and then put a dot in the middle of that circle, right? Mentally draw a circle or sphere, whatever you want to call it, and then put a dot in the middle of that circle. The sphere represents all that there is, right? And that sphere represents, you can say that line itself represents non-space, non-time.
Oneness.
Unity. It's all that there is.
Okay.
So now you have a dot, right? Now draw another circle inside of the bigger circle, but around that dot.
Right on.
That dot is the illusionary construct that we call space and time.
Okay.
Right? Now, excuse me, I said that dot, that smaller circle, and you still have the dot in the center of that smaller circle. Now draw a line, horizontal and vertical, that intersects that dot. So you have so what you should see in your mind is a big circle, a smaller circle, and a cross in the middle of it. And at the cross, it's you, or that dot. Now, again, that cross, that circle and the cross, that cross in the circle represents space and time. Outside of that is non-space and time. So the line going across represents movement, and the line going up and down represents the space. So movement is determined we just determine time by a construct of moving from this point to that point. And we say it took X, Y, and Z amount of time to get there.
Linear.
Right, linear.
Okay.
And then this encompassing circle and the vertical line represents the space that the space that you're covering, so on and so forth, as above, so below. So anywhere you move in that circle, that dot moves in that circle with that amongst that cross, it's space and time.
Right.
And you have the opportunity to choose where you're going to go. But to the circle or the bigger circle looking inward, it's already happened. It's happening. And it's all happening right now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when somebody says, well, God knows what you're going to do before you do it, right? Because it's already happened for God. It's happening and it will happen all in the same moment. So it's all right now. Right. But for the individual that's in that illusionary space and time, they're on a conscious level, not subconscious, not super subconscious. They're making decisions.
Right.
So they don't know. Right. They're in the moment making these decisions. But to that greater aspect of themselves, it already knows what's going on. It already knows what's going to happen. And that's not even including what we call a multiverse.
Right.
So I'm going to quantify that thought just a little bit.
It, please.
Right. So whenever we do something, anything, with our consciousness, with our thoughts, what we do is we develop an energy pattern.
Yes.
Right. And this energy pattern, it resonates with the physical body.
Yes.
And the energetic field within the physical body and outside of the physical body.
Yes.
Right? Now, it's two planes with that. In the divine plane, right, this is all one event.
Yes.
Happening simultaneously.
Yes.
In the spiritual plane, it's playing out in steps in what we call decision making.
And when you say spiritual plane, that's even different emanations.
That's even different emanations.
Right.
And that's going to be based on a level of consciousness
Yes.
pertaining to the individual.
Yes.
Right.
Some of us are not coherent in decision making. We're primed to do things.
Go over coherence and primed again.
Yeah.
Okay, so like when you're coherent, you are in a space of awareness where you recognize what's taking place.
Right.
When you're primed to do a certain thing, right? It's no different than when you go to the doctor and they take that little triangle thing and they hit your knee and it just
kicks.
It just reacts.
Right.
Right?
If it's in order.
If it's in order. Some of us, through the development of an energetic pattern, we've become primed to respond to certain stimuli.
Right.
Not necessarily are we what's the word? Coherent during the process.
Right.
So going back to that whole concept of the circle, right? In the circle, the oneness, the unity, the is what it is, it's one event.
Right.
And then from that emanates all the fractions of what that, all the fractions that can express that oneness.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a good way of
Yes.
That's one dimension of explaining it. Yes, I can get with that. And in that, then you have these I don't want to call them debates, but difference of opinion. Like, no, I didn't choose this for myself. And that's where when people, from my perspective, get into that state, they really have disconnected themselves from what you say coherence.
Coherency,
because
yes.
they are devoid of the concept or the idea or the knowing that they made choices to get them to that point.
Right.
And
that's called, for the listeners, that's called the reactive mind.
The reactive mind.
Right? In the reactive mind is the priming effect.
Interesting.
Or what you've been taught, or how you were taught to expound on something or react to something.
Absolutely. So, in the reactive mind concept is the idea of, no, I did not choose this for myself.
Right.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That is on some plane of existence, experience, or consciousness, right?
Right.
Is that set of stimuli available for those who resonate there.
Right. And it's tough because I several years ago I expressed that thought, and the person was like, "Well, so what you saying? A child that has no they don't know right, they don't know wrong, and somebody molests them or touches that child or do something to that child. You saying on some level that child is attracting that or wants that to happen?" And it, like I said, is a couple of years ago, so it's hard to articulate myself. And what I say to that is like, listen, you can believe articulate it however you want to make it make sense to you.
Right.
And for me, I say again, on some level of consciousness, that experience is drawn to the individual for a greater purpose.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That-
Because we don't think about, a lot of times when things happen, we're looking at a soul that's at that present point in time as a child, as an innocence. And I'm not saying they're not innocent. I'm not saying that they are.
Right.
Because I do believe in reincarnation and things carrying over to other lives. Not saying that that's what anybody wants to draw for themselves, but I don't know at the same time. What I'm saying is it's a sequence of events, causes and effects that happen that culminate to a certain experience that touches, we're looking at the one individual, but it actually touches many, many more individuals than the victim and the perpetrator.
Right.
And it touches everybody that's connected to it on some different